It's a new week, Monday, another week birthing these new projects and committing to this album that I'm bringing into life. If you guys watched last week's episode, you'll know that the track didn't really end up how I wanted it to end up, right? Things weren't really clicking, and that showed me that I wanted to take things back to basics and just do the campfire test in many ways. Write songs just back in their simplest form, right? Sit with a guitar and just write some lyrics, write some melodies. What's the song sound like when it's just played on a guitar as if you're going to be jamming it around a campfire with friends, you know? Does the song stand its test? And then I can turn it into a rock song, an indie song, a pop song, an electronic song, whatever direction I want to take it music-wise, you know, but at the core of it, I know what the song is. That's the direction I'm going into this week. The next step of recording this album is I'm going to start turning those songs and recording those guitars and vocals and start building them out, you know, seeing what they're like once I start recording. So come along for the journey. Got a couple of mates coming around tonight as well to fine-tune some songs that we're working on for another album, an album that I'm doing with them. So separate to this one that I'm committed to do with myself, but that should be good as well, a little writing session that we've got in a few hours. So I'm actually going to go and have some dinner and cook that so that I'm free for when my friends pop round to continue on with our projects as well.
This is it. It's that I could take out the singy bit, and then it is a 24.
Well, not even saying that. Well, what was the first part? Do you mind doing it all again?
Yeah, come on.
Looking for numbers. Good morning. Last night was great, very productive, very good fun to be with the boys and write some songs. It's funny how it went. They were sitting there writing, and as I said in last week's video, normally it's just my time to sit, relax, be in the moment, help them out with some things, but I was sitting there, we had the song on loop, and I thought, right, it probably makes sense for me to be writing as well, right? I'm doing this album, I'm going to be wanting to write lyrics. Let's take this opportunity to write some lyrics, even though it's not for the song that I'd made for them to use. And then the conversation started that maybe all three of us should be on this track. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out over the coming days and weeks of finishing that song together. Maybe I'll be on it, which was a surprise to me. I'm not sure if that's meant to be. We'll see. And if it makes the song better, then sure, why not? I'm all for it. But it's funny how that goes, right? When you're sitting in a room together, all writing. The song's becoming even more of a collaboration than I think we originally intended. Which is good fun. It was a late night. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, but that's fine. It was well worth that to have some good quality time with my brothers. So and some creative hours together. So that was great. But I did have to push myself for a workout this morning. It's crazy the difference, right? When you're not fully rested and then trying to push yourself through a morning workout, but we done it, we got it done, and now I can enjoy some creative hours. So I want to take this opportunity, right, as I drink my coffee, I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak preview of the music that I've made so far for this album, right? I keep mentioning these two free tracks, but I'm going to play two of them because I mentioned how I feel like I got the sound kind of spot on for what I like and what I go off and listen to, and I've got these two demos. They're not quite finished, but they're pretty much there, right? They're at a point where I know how they're going to sound when they are done. So I think it's going to be a good opportunity to play them to you so you can also hear where I'm at with it sound wise, because I haven't shared much of that yet. And then you'll know where I'm at and what I'm heading for, and possibly the first two tracks of the album, which is very exciting. So I'm going to take that opportunity now to play them for you to hear how it's going, right? how it's sounding at the moment with those 2 tracks that absolutely flew out of me last week and were very much like the days where I was realising I think it's time to write this album. So it only makes sense to share those with you now. I'll just give you maybe a 15-20 second preview of each. I think that'll be enough for you to get the vibe, get the gist of what the album sounds like at the moment before I start moving on and working on for the next tracks. So let's do that now. What's done is done, just leave it alone and leave it alone. Be just fine to let it go. We're moving on and we're moving on. Wonderful, I wonder, will it be? Wonderful, I wonder if the thunder is gone. The thunder is gone. So there you go, that's where I'm at with them. The first 2 tracks that feel like they're pretty much done, right? And that's the sort of sound that I'm going for. That's the sort of sound that I love. So now it's time to get a little bit more vulnerable, right? I'm going to show you what my Saturday night looked like. As I said, I sat here with the guitar and just wrote songs in the most basic form, just to get that feeling of what the songs sound like around the campfire, right? So I was moving on from these 2 and just writing some lyrics and writing some guitar parts. And today I'm going to actually put some hours into bringing them to life and giving them a go, recording them in a different way. So I'm going to cut to them now, right? As I said, a little bit more raw, a little bit more vulnerable, and you'll hear I'm still very much figuring out the vocals and the singing, right? And I'm far from perfect with that side of things. And I'm also happy to say that it's now Tuesday, and since Saturday's first writing session of these songs, I feel like I've got the vocals down a little bit more, where I can hear the range that I need to be in, and managing to hit the notes a bit better, which is good. Part of the process, which is rough, right? It's rough and it's far from perfect, far from perfect, and I think that's important to show the different stages of me writing a song, right? Because it's not always just free flowing and hitting perfect notes every time, that's for sure. So yeah, I'm going to cut to that now, right? Just a couple of snippets, and I'm intending to turn them into tracks that are a little bit like the ones we just listened to, right? Recorded on electric guitars and everything else, but as I said, doing the campfire test, just sitting with a guitar and hearing how they sound in that most simplest form, you know, but back to basics, just guitar and vocals, and just seeing if I can even sing them, right, is enough of a test, let alone lyrically and letting the words come through and everything else for the story I want to tell. The animal song lingers, the owl whistles through the bedroom window of a man who's sleeping with his riddle finger on his eyes open bright. In stillness of the night, the animal song it lingers, the animal song it lingers, he sang, hey, hey, hey. The animal song lingers, he sang, hey, hey, hey. The animal song lingers. I gotta go and make this journey. I gotta go and make this journey. I gotta see what's waiting for me on the other side of my feet. Now I'm leaving on my own, leaving everything I've known. Little did I know the days ahead would go. I wanna go and grow, I wanna take this further, show the moon that I heard her that night I sat and listened. Right, let's give this a go of recording one of these songs from Saturday night. I've picked one of them that I'm going to try first, and I've decided to record it in a way that rather than just recording the guitar and then doing the vocals over the top, first I'm going to record them together, right? I'm going to plug in the electric guitar and sing and record them on separate tracks, but as one take, just to see how it goes, because I do find that a lot of the time when I do that in the rough forms in the demos, it's nice how the voice follows the guitar and they're just a little bit more glued together. A lot of the times when I end up actually making a song, I record them separate, so I might end up doing that after, but at first I'm going to try doing it together and see what this is like. So I'm going to set that up now, and then press record and see how we go. Right, probably need to warm up my voice a bit as well. Now I'm leaving on my own, leaving everything I've known. Little did I know, the days ahead would grow. At night I sat and listened, now I'm leaving on my own, leaving everything I've known. Little did I know, the days ahead would go. At night I sat and listened, I wanna go and make this journey, wanna see what's waiting for me on the other side of my fear. Leaving everything I've known, little did I know, the days ahead would go. Now I'm leaving on my own, leaving everything I've known. Little did I know, the days ahead would go. I wanna go and grow, I wanna take this further, show the moon that I heard her. At night I sat and listened. Now I'm leaving on my own, leaving everything I know. Little did I know, the days ahead will go. Will go. Will go. And I'm landing, and I'm seeing this new place, seeing the faces, smiles to celebrate everything I've known. Isn't it a big show? Now I'm leaving on my own, leaving everything I know. Little did I know, the days ahead would go. I'm leaving everything I know, everything I know. The days ahead would go. Right, so it's time to give you a little bit of an update. I've been working on this track for a couple of hours, really enjoying it, but definitely finding some troubles along the way with just probably not sounding how I expect it to sound, which is quite funny considering I said about knowing how to sing it and how the melody and stuff would go. I recorded it much slower than I was probably doing it on Saturday night, but that's fine. What I've just done, right, I've just sped it up. It's a completely different vibe, and it's probably a bit more of the vibe that I've been imagining. So now I'm hearing it like this, I'm doing the vocals in a different way, but in a way finding it a bit easier. So that's where I'm at. It's funny how it goes, right? You can spend hours doing something and then just make one change, and in a way it changes everything. So I'm quite excited, to be honest with you, that I've got bits recorded and I'm making progress in terms of sound, right? I'm building this track out, so that's really good. So that's where I'm at, right? It's been a lovely afternoon. I've actually got my mates coming around again for a session, so I haven't got too long further on this track, and I haven't eaten anything today. And it's 25 to 6, so it's probably time I have some food. But feeling good, feeling pleased with the afternoon being creative, that's for sure. It's got to have fun with it, eh? And these twists and turns that come along the way are all part of it, and part of what makes it fun, right? When you can take it in all these different directions. And for me, it's finding what works for my voice, and also just general style and vibe that I'm going for, right? It was deep before, it was very, very deep and rocky and spacious, but I started singing it softer and softer and softer, where now it's sped up and it's rolling a bit more. I'm finding myself going into it a bit more like singer-songwriter or anthem-y, which is quite fun. So I don't know, I'm still far off, to be honest with you, in terms of vocals, and now that it's sped up, I don't need as many words in each bar, so I can start taking stuff out. So that's what I just started doing, is actually kind of taking the lyrics but restructuring them and writing them in a way that suits this sped up version. So it's very likely I'm going to end up with 2 versions of this track, and I can decide which one I prefer, because just crazy just how changing the tempo can completely change the vibe. That led me to then recording the guitars again, and yeah, so that's where I'm at. It's a good afternoon. I'll check back in and keep you updated of how this track's going over today and also the next days. I left you last night after a few hours of working on that track, and you probably would have picked up that although I'd had a lovely afternoon and felt like I'd been deep within that recording process of enjoying the depths of making that song, I was also unsure of how it was sitting, right? And I'd just left it after changing the tempo, right? And it brought a whole different vibe. It completely switched it up and made it less deep, because I'd kind of been struggling and losing a bit of perspective on how I wanted to sing it, right? If I was doing it in the right way or in a way that felt comfortable to me and my voice. So I was feeling optimistic, and I was also a bit unsure of how the track was sitting, you know, if it was any good. And I went in to have my dinner, and then, as I said, my mates were turning up last night. We had a great night together, continuing on our track together. Had loads of developments in that song as well, which I know you haven't heard, but it's gone from being like a guitar chilled track to kind of like a dub reggae track. I muted a lot of the layers and just listened to the bass line and the drums, and then added some more of a reggae beat. But I played the track to the boys. I played what I'd worked on yesterday, and as I was playing it to them, I was hearing it in a different light, and I was thinking, you know what, I quite like this. You know, I just dragged in one of the vocal takes just to give them a little bit of an example, and I said to them, I said, I've got these 2 versions, one slower, but I think you're going to like the quicker version. Because at that point I was still in that mode of being quite optimistic about that second approach, that sped up version. And as soon as I pressed play, they loved it, and I was listening to it as well, thinking, you know what, this is quite nice. It's very raw, and there's something deep about it, which I knew anyway. But it just goes to show, with a little bit of a break, having that hour break for dinner, and then chatting to those guys, and them coming in, I had a break from the track, right? So then to come back and listen to it whilst playing it to them, and hear their feedback, but also feel how genuine they were being when they were saying how much they was loving it. They said, we already know that we're going to prefer this slower version. This was before I played them the sped up version, and then I played them the sped up version. They were like, oh yeah, completely different vibe. It makes sense, because I'd taken it from like 70 BPM to like 111, so a lot quicker, a different vibe, and that version I'd put some drums into it. And I was sitting there listening, thinking, you know what, I think even though I felt like I was struggling with the vocals, that take that I just dragged in randomly, I just sort of picked one and dragged it in. I thought it's better than I probably thought that it was. And the fact that it's not perfect, the fact that it was quite raw, it definitely had emotion in it, that's for sure. It had a feeling in it, which is good, which is good to feel, you know. It felt like it had substance. And then one of my mates said, one of them said, look, just gonna throw it out there, but why not combine the two, right, and have a little switch up. And when he said it, I was like, of course, that's exactly what I need to do. It's perfect for this track to have the first half of it in that slower version and that deep version, and then to completely switch it up halfway through and go into that. But I went to bed last night with that version on loop, both versions on loop. I've done a little test version of what it would sound like with a switch up, even without me diving into it much, just literally taking that first recording and that second version and putting them together halfway through. And that's definitely the approach I'm going to take with this. So it just goes to show, right, having that second opinion, and also an opinion that you trust, of those that aren't just going to tell you it's good when it's not. They could tell they felt it was deep, they felt it had something in it. Gave me a bit more clarity and confidence of where I'm at with this track, and also that idea of combining the two versions rather than being split on having two versions and not knowing what one to go with. I can make a journey with it, and funny enough, that track was already called Journey, so I might change that title when it comes to releasing it, but in my notebooks and in my mind it's been called Journey, so it makes sense to make it more of a journey by having this development going throughout. So I'm feeling excited about it, and I absolutely loved that session yesterday. It was good fun, and now I know the direction I've got to take this track, which I'm really, really pleased about. It's nice starting a new week, being excited about the projects that you're birthing, right? It just goes to show when you're following your passions and you're following that voice inside of following the things you're excited about, and starting a new week when you know that you're doing that and putting your energy there is a beautiful place to be. And I start each week this way, you know. A Monday you can dread, right, because it's the start of the week when you're doing things that maybe you don't want to be doing, and then I'm blessed to say that these days I don't feel that. I get excited about it, and that just goes to show the power of when you're putting your energy and love into things that mean a lot, right, and that you're excited about, and you're pushing yourself. And it feels nice to be approaching a new week, birthing this album and committing to a project like this. So that's where I'm at. I've started the week with my fingers feeling a little bit sore, which is a good sign, right? When you've been playing that much guitar, you can feel it in your fingers, so that's good. And then over these coming days, be diving into making more progress on what this album is, and experimenting and bringing to life this new project for me, which is a selection of tracks that's me enjoying the process of birthing a sound that I've yet to explore to the depths that I've committed to in these days. So that's exciting.